Hi, I'm Bob Trask, and this is our weekly reset. To begin with, let me thank John Mason. God bless him for being here last week and for carrying us forward while I was on vacation. John spoke about um, near-death experiences and how that is relative to eternity. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about something relative to eternity, and it's that chaos, which is pretty much the way life is and the way the universe is, chaos actually has about it an order, and that we can find that order, and that we can be one with that order, and that order is is a beautiful thing. And today I'm just going to call that order harmony. And we're going to be talking about enjoying harmony amidst life's chaos. So, maybe you had a loved one who passed away, or maybe you're dealing now with a critical illness, or perhaps things are upside down and backwards financially, or perhaps you're just not finding yourself as emotionally stable as you'd like to be. All those kinds of things are chaotic. They're chaos. And we can get caught up in the chaos and lost in the chaos. And as we get lost in the chaos, we forget who we are. We are those people who came into this eternal place to bring order, to bring harmony to the chaos. There is a disorder in life, massive disorder. Everywhere we look, there's disorder, and it panics some of us. And we think it's our duty to bring that chaos into order. So we are, we're picking up lint, or we're scrubbing at spots, or even correcting each other's speeches, or we just can't stand chaos. We want order. And yet the universe is filled with disorder. It's filled with chaos. And some great physicists and some great theorists have said in the past that you can't you can't pretend that the universe is not chaos. You can look at the order in excuse me. You can look at the order in our lives, and you can say, well, I've got things in order. I've got things orderly. But isn't there always a little bit of panic on the edge of that order, that things are falling apart? Oh my God, I'm going to be late. I've got to get this done. I've got to take that out of the oven. I forgot today's the day I'm supposed to. So there's always a little bit of fear, a little bit of panic, a little anxiety regarding the disorder that's present around us, and our necessary obligation to bring order into that chaos, and to make it harmonize. Well, that's cool. I like that. That's really nice. The real problem is that chaos is going to exist. It's going to go on. And in order for us to find harmony in that, we have to find harmony in the chaos itself. How in the world would you do that? How in the world would you find order or harmony in chaos? When you look at your life right now and you look at the future, is it uncertain? Do you feel like there's a lot up in the air and you don't know for sure how it's going to come together? And what am I supposed to do to bring it together? Do you find that there's an instability around you right now that you feel like you need to correct? You've got to correct that. Well, let me ask you another question. When you go back years, maybe decades, do you find the same thing is true? Were you always trying to correct that? Were you always feeling uncertain about the future? Were you always feeling that perhaps unless I do this or this or this, that things are not going to work out? And even if you did this or this or this, did things really work out? Or did it just bring you to the next step of chaos, the next step of disorder? So you're always facing that. And the question is, how do we find a harmony in that? And we have to find harmony in that by finding that disorder, that chaos itself has a harmony to it. And we can look at nature to find that, can't we? We can look at a tree. One of my favorite beings are trees. We can look at a tree, and a tree might stand there for 1,000 or several thousand years. And every year it grows a tiny, tiny bit. It brings order out of the chaos, tiny, tiny bit. Now we can see order there. And every year the leaves or the needles or the cones fall off and go to the ground and decay into the ground and become chaos, become disorder, and then go back into the roots of the tree and become order again. And that cycle continues to happen with the tree. And in the universe, stars implode, and chaos happens, and there's great black holes, and the whole galaxy seems to be falling apart. But as it's falling apart, it's falling together. And that's the point. That as our lives seem to be falling apart, unless we control them, they're also falling together. I remember when I was a little boy, first time I went out on a fishing boat. My uncles took me out on a fishing boat out of San Diego. I even remember the name of the boat. It's the Mascot 3. And we went out on this fishing boat out into the kelp beds. And I had never been on the ocean before. And the boat was doing this. And my uncles were laughing because they were saying he's holding onto the boat, trying to keep it from rocking. And that was what I was trying to do. I was trying to stop the rocking of the boat. We're always trying to stop the rocking of the boat in our lives, but the ocean will go on. The ocean will continue to go on, and life will go on in the waves of life, because energy, which is life, travels in waves. And as it travels in waves, it carries us with it. And we spend so much time trying to stop the boat from rocking. But we need to somehow come to peace with this. And the reason we need to come to peace with this is because we are by our nature creators. We're creators, and we came here to create. We came here to create, to find chaos, to find dissolution, to find disorder, and to bring out of that something that's intrinsic to us as individuals, to bring something into that as a painter or a musician or an actor or a mechanic or a salesperson or a doctor or a scientist or a physicist or a school teacher or a homemaker, whatever that is. There's chaos going on there. When I wake up in the morning, the day isn't done. The day is afoot, and the day has no order to it at all. There's no way of knowing what's going to happen in the next hour, the next minute, or the next second. Could be a hurricane, could be a tornado, could be an earthquake, could be the millionaire knocking at the door to say, guess what? I just brought you a check for $1 million. Could be anything. Could be anything. But we have the ability, you and I, we have the ability to look into chaos and find order, our order, and bring that order to be. See, this universe that we live in, I mean, when I say universe, we automatically think of the physical universe, but I want us to think a little bit larger than that. I want us to think of the metaphysical universe as well, the non-physical universe, the physical universe, the universe that the physical universe comes from. I want us to look at that universe for a minute. And when we look at that universe, What we're looking at is probability, possibility. But when we are involved, when we are projecting into that possibility, it becomes probability. It becomes probability. So if you look into your future, if you look into the situation in a relationship, as an example, in a relationship with a primary person, primary relationship, and you look into that relationship and you say, this is disaster. This is going nowhere. This is a train wreck. There's no chance that this is going to do anything except get worse and worse and worse. Guess what? The probability of that is coming true. And that's bringing order out of chaos. There was nothing there. There was just chaos. There was just possibility. But when you come to that moment, you bring with it your intention. You bring with it your doubts and your fears and your hopes and your wishes. And you combine all those together and you hopefully have an affirmation. You hopefully have a positive vision of what you want to create. And hopefully you have the courage to stand by that vision, even in the face of chaos. Even when you're looking at chaos, you have the courage to stand with that vision and say, I know it looks like it's going to fall apart. I know it doesn't look good, but I'm going to make this happen. I see it. I know it. I feel it. I am it. And it will come about because you're looking now in a field of probability. And that's the universe. That's the metaphysical universe. That's this great darkness. It's a great untethered team of wild horses. They're going every 6 and 10 directions. And when you harness them, they begin to pull your cart in the direction you want it to go. But you have to have the courage to do that. You have to have the courage to look at the chaos ahead of you, to look at the uncertainty ahead of you, and to be certain about what? About who you are, and how you stand in this world, and what you're committed to, and what you can do. So now, can you enjoy harmony amidst life's chaos? I think so. Tomorrow's unpredictable. It's a disorganized mess. It's a vast field of improbability and impossibility, but it is possibility and probability when you are in it. Here's the basic truth. All chaos has order hidden in it. The unpredictability of someone's moods, the rain that happens when sunshine was forecast, the sudden betrayal of someone that you trusted, a worrying diagnosis when we thought ourselves perfectly healthy, that terrible diagnosis that seems to be authenticated by lab reports and by the MRIs or CAT scans or whatever, those lab reports and those tests that are absolutely there on the table, and then they turn out not to be true. I've known several people who were diagnosed with terminal cancer. I've known several people who were given weeks, not months or years, but weeks to live. Weeks to live. One of them I'm still vaguely in touch with was 40 years ago. She's still alive. I can tell you that you bring to this chaos yourself, and you bring to this chaos your instinctive and intrinsic power to create harmony from chaos, the harmony that you want. Chuck Palahniuk said, our real discoveries come from chaos. from going to the place that looks wrong and stupid and foolish. Our real discoveries come from chaos, from going to the place that looks wrong and stupid and foolish. Such chaos can be painful. And part of the pain is that we couldn't see it coming. We were conscious of our daily reality, expecting the future to go on according to the order that we perceived, but suddenly things were not in that order. And today we can see how we bring order out of chaos by just taking charge of our lives. So to begin with, let's just see that chaos has beneath it a very disciplined and dedicated order, just waiting to be discovered. And the reason most of us get lost is because we avoid uncertainty. We want to be able to know exactly how things are going to turn out. But we come to the jumble of chaos with a plan, with a picture in mind of how we want things to be, and then they can turn out according to our plans. And we've seen that happen again and again and again and again. Miracles, miracles. Not only the miracles of medicine, not only the miracles of people living through supposedly terminal cancer or curing paralysis or getting rid of some terrible dysfunctional part of their body. Not only that, but the things that like electric light, the things like automobiles, airplanes flying, me being able to pick up my telephone and talk to you on the other end of the planet with no wires attached. All these things, all these things are way beyond the field of possibility. But when you and I show up, when the scientists and the discoverers show up, when people show up that have visions, they become probabilities. And then if you can put your vision on that probability, then it will become so. It will become so. And then I can pick this up and call you on the phone halfway around the world. My wife Mary and I love to work jigsaw puzzles. When we begin, there's a big pile of anywhere from 500 to 1,500 pieces, at least half of them upside down, complete, total disorder. Mary's much better at working these puzzles because she has a greater dislike of disorder than I do. But together we eventually complete each puzzle and then sit in admiration of its beautiful picture. And now here's the truth. Not only that beautiful picture, but all beautiful realities exist, even when the pieces seem to be a jumbled mess, seem to be chaos. The puzzle that's laying right in front of you is your life. It's a jumbled mess. But your job is to put the puzzle together. And you, of all the creatures on this planet that ever lived or probably ever will live, are the only ones that can actually look at the jungle and the jumble and bring it together to create harmony in chaos. We were able, Mary and I, to look at the picture on the box, say, oh, no, there's the picture. Oh, well, this should go over here because of the picture. So when you look forward and you're at the jumble of the puzzle pieces in your life, you can't see a picture on the box, can you? Then you have to have a vision. See, when you have a vision, when you have a clear vision, because you're a creator, because you are a bringer of order out of chaos, when you have a clear vision of what you want, then the pieces in that jumble ahead of you resort themselves, and the pieces that don't belong in that vision go away, and the pieces that belong in that vision come back together. Now, it's still not complete, but at least those pieces are now there for you because you have the vision. And then it's up to you, step by step by step by step, to put the puzzle together. Step by step, piece by piece. And that's exactly how the disorder of tomorrow works out. And that's how the disorder of tomorrow in our human family works out. And that's our life's work. That's our purpose for being on this planet, not to shy away from chaos, from uncertainty, but to embrace it and to bring a new order out of it. And we can do that no matter how uncertain the future looks. We can always do that. I can do that, and you can. Muna'a Muhammad said, sometimes you find yourself in the midst of chaos, and sometimes in the middle of chaos, you find yourself. Sometimes you find yourself in the middle of chaos, and sometimes in the middle of chaos, you find yourself. But yeah, well, first we need a picture of what we want to create, and that vision has to be living inside of you every day, asking to be realized, and you have to be committed to it. And in that commitment, you have to follow the triangle, the be, do, have triangle, the rest, do, win triangle. And then you have to remember to have all three of those points. So you have to be able to rest. You can't be driving all the time. You have to rest. You have to let the pieces sort out. You have to let things settle down. You have to bring harmony into your life before you can bring harmony into your future. You can't bring those pieces together in harmony if there isn't harmony within you. So we're climbing a hill. And the hill is life. And as we climb, the hill gets steeper, but we get stronger. And we get better and better able to work these puzzles. We're not alone. Please remember that you're not alone. You're members of a great community of wisdom and love that we call the universe. And it isn't just people. It's the great spirit. It's the great intelligent presence of the universe. That is all of this chaos and the order under that chaos that's holding it all together. But until you and I get a vision and get committed to it, there's not going to be any kind of future, just chaos. Then we just live from day to day with chaos. We're like someone living on the street. We don't know what's coming next. And we're just kind of living moment by moment and hoping for the best, but not having any real plan for the future. And then what happens and happens in so many people's lives, even people who have jobs and have homes and have cars and go to school, many of them don't have a real plan for the future. And I don't mean an obligation to the future. I don't want to use the word obligation. I want to use the word opportunity. An opportunity to look at the future and say, what do I want? What would fit with me? Who I am as a unique individual? What would be perfect for me? What would I like to create next? What would I enjoy? What would be my bliss? Let me go there. Let me find that and bring that into being. Let me find myself in the future. What would unfold that would be me? And then that vision, we get committed to it. And then there is a future, a predictable future, where some people live only in the continual replication of the past. Some of us are going forward. And we bring chaos into order by moving forward with deliberate commitment to our vision. We allow our instincts, our intuitions, our natural knowing to tell us what our work will look like when it's done. And holding that vision always in our mind, keeping our eyes on the prize, we bring disorder into order and we create something that maybe never existed before. And then we become more than we've ever been before. And what does it take? It takes willingness to risk. That's what we're doing here in this life on this planet. Taking the risk of bringing chaos into form. That's our life mission, because it's the sacred process by which we grow spiritually, by which we grow mentally, physically, and emotionally. And there's a team effort here. It takes a village, a community of caring friends. And for most of us, it's there that we face the first and maybe the greatest challenge of bringing order out of chaos, forming a community of visionaries and missionaries in order to support one another's visions. In other words, a community of friends who will stand together. We become so much stronger when we stand together. When we find out what our visions are and we stand with each other in support of those visions. And so until we can find and trust that team, we're going to be putting pieces together and somebody else is going to be tearing them apart. And we'll then become frustrated and angry and become part of the chaos. Sestima Poinsett Clark said, I have great belief in the fact that whenever there is chaos, it creates wonderful thinking. I consider chaos a gift. But she could not consider chaos a gift unless she had a community that had her back. So, my dear heart, you and I are the luckiest creatures alive. We're the only ones who can think a thought and then create a reality from that thought. We're the only ones with the imaginations that can see possibility and probability in our futures. We're not only consigned to every day bringing beautiful things into being, we can change our minds, change our attitudes, and by so doing, change our world. So when Mary and I finish a puzzle, we let it sit there and appreciate it over a cup of tea. And then we mess it up and put it back in the box and bring out another box of jumbled pieces. Your tomorrow is your next puzzle. It's calling for you to dare to bring order out of chaos, out of its chaos. And just remember, if you have a vision, and I know you do, when you look forward to tomorrow, it isn't just scattered, jumbled pieces that are there from all the different boxes of puzzles all mixed together. No, it's this one picture, one puzzle, the one that you've imagined. There are no other pieces there. There are only those pieces there. And when you reach out into and start turning those right side up and looking how they fit together, you'll be creating a reality no one else in all of history ever has or ever will create. Your reality, your creation in this world. And it'll be more than a silly jigsaw puzzle. It'll be the fulfillment of your dreams and the fulfillment of your life. Chuck Palahniuk said, what we call chaos are just patterns we haven't recognized. And Friedrich Nietzsche said, I tell you, one must have chaos within oneself in order to give birth to a dancing star. I tell you, one must have chaos in oneself to give birth to a dancing star. I tell you, you still have chaos in yourself. Thank you for being with me today. I appreciate you. If this has been good for you, will you please go to my website, bobtrask.com, and leave a donation? And will you also pick up my book, Up She Falls, and leave a review on amazon.com? That book, incidentally, I spent years laboring over that book because I thought it had a really perfect message for you and for me. So please give it an honor on Amazon.com, and I'll appreciate that. Now, if you can stick with us for a little while, we're going to be having a conversation about the things that we've talked about here. And if you have to go, I understand. Go with my love and my blessings, and I'll see you next